Hello, baby.
Oh,
No,
goodness.
just kidding.
Oh boy, we're in it now.
Hello. Welcome to Press Play again. Yeah, I know. We're starting off strong. I'm really excited for this episode, if you can't tell.
How could you not
Yes.
be after watching what we just watched?
Again, hello, welcome. I'm Bailey, as always, your host. Joined with Omar Zaki and Matt Austin.
Hello.
Say hello. Hello
What's
to
up,
the people.
guys?
Hello, people. This is my favorite time of day to
Right?
do
Dude,
this.
yes.
It's the only thing we look forward to anymore.
I know the world's
Honestly.
shit. There's nothing good on.
Well, except WandaVision.
Yeah, except WandaVision.
Yeah,
Right.
clearly. You
Except the
gotta
stuff we're talking about now.
please
Yeah.
like it so you can come and watch us talk about it. Yeah, this is our Friday episode. You know, the ones we always do for WandaVision. And let me tell you, episode 5, a doozy. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and do the whole little spiel of where you can find us and what you can listen to us on, which is Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. I have to read off of a list because there's a lot and I can't remember most of
A lot
them.
of platforms.
So many
So
places.
yeah,
to
you
find
can
it.
listen to us always on those. Please do, actually. And you can also watch us on YouTube. And then we also have our social medias, which is not Facebook, but Twitter at Again Press and Instagram at Press Play Again. And then make sure just after all of this to just subscribe if you're feeling it, like if you're feeling it, comment if you're feeling it,
Please.
give us recommendations.
You might
if
as
you're
well,
feeling it.
honestly.
we
You
need it.
know, because we super appreciate that. So yeah, go ahead and do all of those things. But now that all that nonsense is over with, we're going to dive into WandaVision. But before that, how you guys doing? You know, how's your day?
I'm doing good. I almost
Was
messed
there-
something big up. I still had
Oh.
the High Life logo to the right of Bailey for all
Oh.
the YouTube watchers out there. But I caught it and I switched it on the fly. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, and it did. So
Damn. Perfect.
So- Thank
See,
God.
that's what
Perfection.
you see when you get a good producer like we have. It works. It's like it slides like butter, as people say.
Oh, goodness.
I love
As
being
people
compared to
say.
butter.
Yeah. Smooth as
Nothing
butter.
better.
Oh man. Well, yeah. So anyway, Fridays. This is our WandaVision time. And
How are we on episode 5 already?
I know.
If
well,
only-
it's
Crazy.
If only Omar knew, he wouldn't have gotten the biggest part of the episode spoiled for him.
I mean, I was on Twitter earlier, and I'm very,
Dude.
very good with not running into anything major. And I see episode 5 trending, and I'm like, okay, Empire Strikes Back. You know, let's fucking do it. And I click on it, and
To
first
be
picture,
fair,
man, dude, the first picture was fucking yeah.
the big spoiler, which Omar texted us immediately and was like, "God damn it! No one get on Twitter until
Trying to
you
save
watch
you
this."
guys.
And I'm just like, I hate that we live in a time where people just
It
get
sucks,
off
man. Yeah.
on spoiling everything.
Yep.
Just let other
Yeah.
people enjoy it first, you know?
It's
And
real
then
It was still
spoil
hype, though.
Like
It
2
was
days
still hype.
after.
Yeah, 2 days after.
God. Well, yeah. So this is WandaVision episode 5 on. It's called On a Very Special Episode, which I don't know how I never realized this with the previous episodes, but the shows the episodes names are all taglines from old shows. Like when you have we interrupt this broadcast and stuff like that. And I don't know how I never noticed it until this episode, but I was like, oh, so clever. They always down to the little details. I love it.
That's the MCU for you.
Yeah, I think I
Exactly.
think I noticed that last week, so I wasn't that far off from you.
I enjoyed it though. But yeah, so I guess let's do. Should we do how we're feeling? Like each of us go through how we felt.
I mean,
about
we
this
can
episode?
just because I think this was a major episode.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, you want to start it off, Matt? We'll go with you first.
Oh yeah, I think because I listened back to the episode we recorded last week, and I was like, man, I really come off like I didn't like this episode, and because I still loved last week's episode. I remember I just kind of thought it gave away a little bit too much.
You had good reasoning
but-
though.
Thankfully, kind of like what I was hoping, saying I hope they just go weird and introduce all kinds of new shit in this. They definitely did, and all of our fears about stuff like that, I think, were hopefully answered in the sense this show definitely got weirder, scarier, everything in this episode. I think this was the best episode so far, and that's saying something because the show's been great. Every episode has been. So, but yeah, I mean, holy shit, I don't know at what point we talk about the ending and like the implications that has, but just the episode as a whole definitely like obviously asked more like interesting questions. So I'm glad we're at that part and yeah, I loved it. I'm all in.
Hell yeah. Okay, Ohms, how do you feel?
All right. So the first 4 episodes I loved, right? Because like they remind me of the MCU, and it's just like okay, we're kind of like warming up to the MCU and everything. Episode 5 was the MCU. Like I felt like I was literally watching a fucking movie in theaters, dude. Like I'm ready to go, characters and everything. And nah, dude, it was so good. Absolutely my favorite episode. And exactly like you said, I mean things are definitely getting weirder. Wanda is getting creepier. She's getting scarier,
Dude,
and I think
she's like a
dude,
villain. She's like becoming the
she's
villain.
I
But
love
at
this
the
take
same
on
time,
her.
she's not, and I love
I know,
that.
and I love that too so much because it like it makes where the season heading, or like I guess
Mhm.
where the show's heading, since it's only one season, where it's heading, very interesting because at one point she says, "Wait, like this is not me. I'm not doing this." And I mean, like you've got to believe her, right? Especially when you know who fucking shows up. That's not that was not something
Oh
she like
man.
Doesn't seem
planned, and you
like
could
it.
tell she was genuinely surprised. And yeah, like you said, I'm sure we're gonna get to it later in the episode, but holy fuck, dude, insane! I what a bold move, man. So yeah, how about you?
Bold is the perfect way to say it.
Yeah,
I feel the same as you guys. You know, surprise, surprise. We're all on the same level, same
surprise,
picture.
surprise.
I get this, but I love what they did with Wanda's character so much in this episode because they have kind of been painting her as like this kind of crazy person who's like so grief stricken that she's like kidnapped this whole
Mm-hmm.
town. Or at least you start figuring that out. But in this episode, I feel like you start to sympathize with her more because you're like, holy shit, like she has gone through so much. Also, how badass they make her in this episode, like how powerful she is. I'm just like, this is amazing. I was like, this looks so cool. Like, and then they even bring up the whole like Thanos thing. Like, she was the only one who got close to killing Thanos, and I was like, she did. She was. You're right.
Yep.
This
Her
is
and Captain Marvel,
awesome.
the only ones.
I know, which I thought was super cool. So yeah, I agree. I feel like this is the most MCU this show has felt so far, which is in a good way. But I also think it's like great to see how the MCU feels like it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like it's going into a more realistic take on people's feelings and the aftermath of things. And I think that's super cool because that's stuff that superhero movies and shows don't like touch on as much.
Right.
So I just think I don't know. It's still like it's just so damn good and realistic. I love it. Well, as realistic as like powers can be.
Yeah.
but-
When you've got superheroes involved.
exactly. But yeah, so that's how I felt about it. Honestly, let's just like get into it because
Let's
I
do
want
it.
to talk about the show so bad.
Before, because
Um,
majority of this is going to be dominated by that guy at the end. I know that. But real quick, I had this thought at the beginning. It's not even really a thought, but it was like, how sanitary is it for Vision to take their
I know,
children's
dude.
binkies and shove them into his ears and just walk out all for a gag? I respect the gag. It was hilarious. It seems like something I would do. But then to just take them out and shove them in their mouths, that can't be good.
well, I mean, if you put on top of the fact that he's supposed to be a corpse, makes it all
Oh
the worse.
god, that's even
like,
worse.
makes it so much worse. So yeah, not doing too hot on the dad front, but
To give him credit, he didn't have much time to prepare.
oh yeah, I mean the children came in like a day. So.
Yeah. And then they're already 10 in the next
But
day.
yeah, you know what? Let's just get to what's important. Okay, so anybody,
What
I'm
the
gonna let
fuck?
one of y'all say it.
Quicksilver.
Swoosh.
I mean, tell me. Okay, so this whole time, I'm gonna say real quick, I've been dead to rights. I'm like, it's Cap. Cap's coming back. It makes no sense that it would be anyone else. Cap and Wanda got this good friendship. Like, he's coming. They show the back of his head. It's gray. I'm like, it's old
Right.
Cap. I'm like, oh, look at that.
Wait,
It's
that's
old
what you
Cap.
thought, really?
I immediately
Really?
when I saw the gray hair, I was like, it's old
Interesting.
Cap. That's so cool. Like they brought him back like in
Oh,
his old
goodness.
age to talk to her. I thought it was gonna be like this elderly grandpa talking to his granddaughter type moment, and then it turns around and it's fucking Evan Peters, and I'm like, oh.
I
Not what
knew it
was
was Quicksilver
expecting.
right away. I just didn't think it was fucking Evan
didn't.
Peters. Well, yeah, I don't know. Just like the hair and the way it looked, like, you know, it was.
Oh no!
It was
See,
nice.
like
It was a
normal
nice set of
people
hair.
would think that. I was just like, "There's no way
That's
it's not
Cap.
gonna be Cap."
Bailey wanted it so bad.
I
She-
did.
Okay, well, do you guys think this is what Elizabeth Olsen was talking about when
See,
she
I
said
don't
Luke
know.
Skywalker?
I'm
There's
going back
no
and
way,
forth
right?
on that because
I
to
There's no
do.
way this. This is it.
Here's
This
the-
I
is
think
the Luke
so, 'cause
Skywalker.
this is how crazy is this? This is like I know everybody said it got kind of spoiled for them because apparently it got released on like or it got released on a Wikipedia page that Evan Peters was like cast. So like apparently it got spoiled. I didn't know that, thankfully, so I had no clue until I literally saw it. But that had to have been what she was talking about because it's the most unexpected thing because it's someone from a different universe. He's not like in the MCU.
But here's the thing, though, and this is why I said I wish she hadn't said anything, because she wasn't even. It's the way she made the comparison didn't seem like she was saying, in terms of like how unexpected. She was like on par with Luke Skywalker.
Right,
like
right,
that
of that
implies like
caliber.
emotional. Like this is
Like
a
Captain
what
America,
the fuck. Like this is
Tony.
you know
Yeah.
this world's colliding, obviously, but like. To
But
me,
that's-
this is it over to compare it to Luke Skywalker popping up. It overhyped it a little bit, but
See,
that's
and
why
This
I
is
don't know.
like-
I don't know if this is that. This might not be what she was talking.
It might
about.
not be.
This is equivalent of like C-3PO popping up on the Mandalorian.
Yeah, you're
It's
"Holy
like of
shit."
that
Oh,
caliber.
see, no, I think this is more than that. Because
Well, hey, C-3PO is important.
no, I know that, but like Evan Peters as Quicksilver was like so loved in X-Men.
I hated what they did with him in Apocalypse, man.
See, but
For sure,
oh,
but-
nobody
was
counts
it Apocalypse or
the
what
one
was the
where
last
he
one?
like
They-
finds out his dad and stuff.
no,
I think-
Phoenix, Dark Phoenix,
They
dude. Where
both
he's
ca-
fucking.
The way he is in Days of Future Past is just
Yeah.
like miles better than. And
But
it's
that's
not
the
him.
thing, like,
He's
I
great
guess
in it, but you
I
know what
don't.
I mean.
I don't ever consider Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix like those. Those aren't even.
Dude,
on my
his
radar.
fucking. He was injured in Dark Phoenix, and he was walking around half of the time. It was so
Yeah,
dumb.
it
dude.
I
really
know,
was.
but that's the thing. Like, I loved his version of Quicksilver in X-Men, like so much so to the point where like the Quicksilver that we got in MCU just felt like it should have been Evan Peters.
For
like,
sure, I
it
think
feels
everyone.
like they got like flip flopped. Like
Mhm.
no hard feelings to the old Quicksilver, but rest in peace, you know, because he's dead. But
Yeah.
I just feel like I think this is like a bigger deal. Like I think this is a huge deal
Well,
because
it
it's
is.
also introducing the whole X-Men world.
That's
now
what I mean.
Into
Right.
this,
Again,
and
this
I think
is-
that's like a huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is worlds colliding.
unexpected.
This is like mind blowing. This is like
Well, this
all
is
of those
obviously
things.
how they're gonna tie it in with Doctor Strange, right?
Seems
this
like it.
is the the verse they keep talking about, right?
I have something to say about that too.
What?
So like, okay, when the kids like grew up the first time to when I think they were like 5 years old,
Yeah.
one of the kids,
No.
I think it was Tommy,
What?
looked
No.
like literally
stop.
a baby
Jesus.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh
and
my
I knew you were
God.
going there.
I
dude.
immediately was like,
You're
is
so
this how they
dumb.
introduced
No.
Doctor Strange? I was like, she gives birth? Like he is her child
Just
so that he can get into the world and be like, Wanda, stop. Like
Well,
but
it's a
as
good
her
thing you don't write
child.
for Marvel.
At
I,
what-
I swear to God, I was like, why would they get a kid that looks like a child of Benedict Cumberbatch?
At
like,
what
my goodness.
age? At what age does this kid start to resemble him so much that it's like then it would click? You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like, it's like when
That's
he
the
gets
thing, she
15,
stopped them from
everybody's
getting
brains just
older.
kind of go like, "Oh God."
But that's the thing. She like stopped them from getting older. I'm like, it's probably because it's too soon. Because Doctor Strange isn't
She's like,
supposed
wait,
to.
It's only episode 5.
You can't see that your brother's Doctor
I knew
Strange.
y'all
yet.
were gonna think I was crazy, but the second I saw that little kid's face, I was like, Benedict? Like, I was like, this is happening.
They didn't really
Lordy.
look like twins to me, if I'm being honest.
No, they
didn't.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole situation with the children are weird anyway.
That is
so.
true. They have a weird childhood. They
Dude,
got
I
a dog, and their
loved-
dog died the same day.
I know that was actually sad, man. But I loved everything with Vision, dude. Like him
Oh,
figuring
yeah.
out everything, and then dude, when they had that fucking moment where they were just like about to go at it, I was
Oh,
like, holy
so
shit, because
God.
we've never seen Vision like that. He's always like cool, calm, and collected. Even when he's in a fucking fight, right? Even in like all the movies we've seen,
Mhm.
he's always just like collected and just like knows what he's doing. He's a fucking computer, right? But then you see him like lose his shit. I love that, man. So good.
Yeah, that
yeah,
scene.
'cause
That scene was.
It was good.
It was intense.
I did slightly get taken out of it when he was like levitating up because it looked so goofy when he was doing it at first. And
You
like,
just
he was
hate the man. Just say it.
There's just something about it I
You
couldn't
just- you
take
just
it
can't take it
super
seriously.
seriously.
A
But
deep,
then like I got like pulled back into it because Wanda was like, "You never talk to me."
Yeah,
like this. And
yeah.
I'm like, he doesn't ever talk to her like that.
a deep
telling
hate
you,
for
man.
Paul Bettany. Just
Dude, I
can't
loved his
die.
haircut too, man. Like he was rocking.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
fucking
the
looked
long
hot.
hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
nice.
yeah. The
No, he looked
80s,
good with them
the 80s suited them
suspenders, too.
both very well, and the kids, and the dog until
Oh,
he
yeah.
died.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the thing, like him figuring it all out, I'm like, first of all, how to take you this long, you know? Because, like, come on, Vision. But
Well,
at the
he
same time,
still might be dead.
the whole thing with him, like, though, like, touching the guy's head,
Yeah.
and he just, like, completely comes to and is like, I have to call my sister, and, like, is freaking out.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
just like, holy shit, like, these people are internally freaking out and, like, don't even know they are.
And I think this is where the MCU, when they say they're gonna start doing horror, I think this is the route they're taking, right? It's not like
Right.
fucking jump scares or anything. I just think it's gonna be things of like
Gonna be more
on
weird,
this.
right?
Mental.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Which
It's
I
cool.
like.
It is cool to know now. Like, I'm assuming Vision, like, he can do this again, like, in terms of just like kind of using his powers to like touch somebody's head and
Yeah.
kind of like snap them out of it for a second. Like, obviously, it seems like he's gonna be figuring more out that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which that's cool.
Which, speaking of, what do y'all think about, so, like, their neighbor, that,
Agnes or whatever.
Agnes, when
Yeah.
she comes in, it's like, she seems like she's never under anything. Like,
There's
that she's
something
just
up with her.
acting.
I'm very suspect. Like I almost think because okay, so we just talked about how Wanda obviously there's something she's not controlling. Some things are beyond what she knows. I think Agnes has something to do with what the hell's
I
going
think
on.
so too. I just
I'm
want to know
onto
what
that
it
bitch.
is.
Right.
Because I don't want her to be a villain, because I like her a lot. I think she's really funny. And so I don't want her to be like someone who's going to have to be like put in prison, or like, or I guess if she becomes a
Axe.
villain and she's like a cool ass villain,
Oh,
and
like a cool-
she
yeah, I can see
that.
continues to be a part of it, that'd be great.
Villain or not, it does seem like she's kind of like she is sort of in the
She
know
knows
with Wanda,
something,
and she
dude,
seems
yeah.
like she's on Wanda's side. So it kind of goes.
She does.
You know what I mean? Like, depending which route it goes, but if they set up to where Wanda actually kind of becomes a villain now, like even
Mhm.
back whatever a half villain,
She's
I don't know what it's gonna
not.
be. I don't know. I
See,
I have this strange, not even this strange feeling that the Multiverse of Madness is kind of gonna be like Doctor Strange, kind of versus Wanda. Like,
Wanda.
you know what I mean? I think that'd be cool. I
See,
have no, I
I
don't have any
feel like,
insider knowledge, but
personally, I don't think she's a villain, especially because of the way the episode ends. Because she pretty much like looks defeated when she's talking to Vision, and she's like, I think it's like, yeah, she's doing part of this, but there's also a huge part of something that's going on that like she has no control over, and she doesn't know why it's happening.
oh, don't get me
Or
wrong. I'm
that's
not
at least
saying
what
she's.
they lead
I'm not
it
saying
to.
she's evil. You'll
Plus-
relate to this, Bailey. I just mean Darth Vader esque, like relatable. Obviously,
Well, Darth
but-
Vader killed like
For
millions of people.
for sure. And I don't know if she's gonna go on like a murder spree or anything, but I mean, just look at the whole scene we got of when she popped out of the
Oh, so
hexagon or
cool.
whatever, and they with all the lasers trained on her and just that
Yeah.
whole badass thing, like they're definitely setting up for her to be some sort of it, which I'm totally into if that's where they go. But
I'd say anti-hero more than I'd say villain.
sure, yeah, you go, anti-hero.
I don't
villain.
think she's gonna. You really think she's gonna go straight up to a villain?
Well, again, it depends what you classify villain as, but I just mean like she could be the antagonist of
guess
the
my-
Multiverse of Madness.
My levels for villain are very different from y'all's. Because like if they're bad people, but they like show that they can be good and get changed and like have their whole like come to moment, I'm like, oh no, not a villain.
That's not a villain.
Darth Vader, not a villain. He saved the day at the
Well,
end.
that's what I mean then.
I'm
that's,
just messing though.
That's why I clarify. Like, I don't think she's evil by any means, but I just think I think they're setting up for it to be this kind of like interesting dilemma, and then like
Yeah.
obviously super like when we get through WandaVision, I think when we finish this show that she is going to be in a bad place more than she's in a good place. And I think that the story going forward is going to be more pulling in more characters that we like love from the MCU, kind of hoping to snap her out of it, but I don't know what the stakes are going to be and what's happened by that point.
It just really depends on what we're out there going with Doctor Strange, because I'm assuming at this point, dude, if we just got fucking Evan Peters on episode 5 of WandaVision, I'm assuming we're getting more characters in the Strange movie. It could be a good way to introduce some more members of the X-Men. Obviously I know they revealed they're doing a Fantastic Four movie. Who knows? I mean, they could be in there fucking. So I'm not sure. Like I almost want to agree with you and say, yeah, that's the route they're going with Wanda, and it'd be so fucking cool to have her like play that role. But also at the same time, there's just gonna be so much happening in the MCU after the show ends, to where I don't think she would get the time or like I just don't think they can focus on her being like a villain of some sort and then introduce all these new characters with everything going on.
Yeah.
But that's just my take. Yeah, I don't know.
So I'd say, like, my opinion on what potentially could be happening is with like Monica Rambeau and
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Woo. I think that's the agent's name, and Kat Dennings. I can't remember. I think her name's Darcy.
Yes.
With them, I feel like they're starting to realize that Sword might be
Yeah.
corrupted, and I
100%.
think that WandaVision. I think Wanda and Doctor Strange are gonna have a team up movie. I
Okay.
honestly do.
I do agree with that, but are we gonna say Sword is a are we gonna say they're corrupted, or are they just like aggressive with wanting to protect
Control and
Well,
or whatever?
I
Because I mean, look, if I was
I
in their
looked into
shoes, right?
some things. That's all I'll say.
Oh, okay. Well then,
What'd you
never
find?
mind. I'll let you have
I
it.
don't want to. I don't. If people don't want to know, I don't want to like spoil
It-
anything
it-
because it's not like spoiling really.
Is it like from the
but, like,
comics or
yeah,
something?
but
I
the
feel like
comic
you
stuff,
can
I
already-
feel like that's free rent.
It's not actually.
Oh, never mind.
But there's some stuff like I feel like y'all can already kind of tell though that like something's off with the director.
Well, sure,
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
That's like-
we talked
Yeah.
about that on last week's episode.
Exactly.
Didn't
I was like he's gonna be a villain. Then you get this
Okay.
episode and he's like kind of more of a villainous type of guy. He's not a villain, but he's like
Right,
we?
smacking
Taking
them
that
right.
kind of
missile
like
on
a
the,
dick.
the fucking drone or whatever.
Yeah, he was literally about to kill Wanda, and so I didn't look too much into it, but I just think it is like a thing where like I think he's gonna end up being someone. Like
Yeah.
I
feel you.
think he's purposely trying to kill Wanda, like not for like the safety of everyone. I think like he's trying to like get her out, kind of
Oh, yeah.
thing. So
I'm trying to find what I found.
I don't know if there's a whole, and this could not be true, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of all of this, it was like something happened that was given to Wanda that made her go crazy and do all of this. Like, there's a reason for it. There's always reasons for everything.
It could be that, but it's one of those things where I feel like they're all the motivations, like from like literally from Age of Ultron to Endgame. Like her
Mhm.
character has every motivation she needs to go. Like not, I don't even know if you'd call this crazy now, but to
AWOL?
do what she's doing now in the terms of like, okay, Thanos is dead, everybody came back, but she's the only person that does not get her like loss back because Vision like straight up died. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Mhm.
a snap. So like she's not feeling okay, and obviously, and then we haven't even talked about it yet, but we get the whole security footage of her breaking into
Yeah.
Sword and like stealing
To get
Vision's
the
corpse,
body.
which is also dark as fuck. But like,
Yeah.
It's awesome though.
I love
yeah,
it, yeah.
but you know what I mean. And so that has implications because now, as far as we know, Vision might actually act like he could be resurrected, but like at what cost?
Yeah.
Because the this episode in particular hammers down that like he doesn't want that. So
Right,
Right.
it's against
now
his
you've got that
wishes.
complicated thing of like Wanda's trying to do what she wants to do to kind of like rebuild her reality and rebuild her world, but like Vision, I mean, he's dead and he, you know, wants to stay dead. He doesn't want this like kind of like unnatural thing to happen. So like
Mhm.
she could be being controlled, but I also feel like it's all the chips are there that she is just
Well, to
like she's
some certain
suffering that
extent,
much and
Yeah.
creating this for
yeah.
herself.
I think she's definitely the one like articulating everything that's happening, but to I guess for the things that she can't explain, like someone in there, either it's Sword or it's Agnes, like there's something off.
Somebody else
There's,
knows
like
something.
another right.
I do agree with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I agree, like, with most of what you're saying. I really do. And, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're completely right. I just have this, like, lingering feeling of thinking, like, they want you to think she's a villain. Like, they want you to. It's like one of those things where, like, this hero's being turned into a villain, but is it purposefully happening so
Or is
people
somebody
want her
orchestrating
not
it?
to be a part of it? That's
Well,
what I mean.
And
like,
what I will
Why
so.
I will say this. I don't think when I say that I think she's gonna be a villain or whatever, like I don't think she's gonna be like the big bad. Like I think
No,
I
I
think
know.
the MCU is heading in another direction. There's some other like kingpin at the top of this that is gonna be taking advantage of her kind of like suffering and deciding to
Mhm.
do this, and he might be the one orchestrating it. Who is one of y'all might know? I'd have to go back on Twitter and find it, but like a lot of people think that Quicksilver at the end that is somebody else disguising themselves as Quicksilver, and it's another kind of like huge cosmic Marvel villain that I'm gonna have
Why
to
would they disguise themselves as that Quicksilver, though?
To fuck with
to
it?
fuck with her, yeah.
Hmm.
Like in a
Does she
different
know
kinda
that
way.
Quicksilver exists, though?
No,
Like-
but
Well, no. They're I mean, that villain could be from another verse or
Yeah.
multiverse or
Hold
whatever,
on.
or like another world, and he thinks that's her
I
Yeah.
will find it because it's
Quicksilver. Is it
I guess it's-
Galactus? I don't
No.
think he can.
No,
yeah.
it's not him. It's y'all keep talking. I'll find
I
it.
feel like I agree with like everything y'all are saying. I promise I do. I'm more just trying to like read into the
Here's
other
the thing.
stuff because like no matter what, at the end of the day, no matter how much we think we're gonna know the answer, it always ends up being something different.
It does.
Unless it's something straight up from
Right.
the comics. But like
I was
this
actually
doesn't feel like it's straight up from the comics.
I was listening to our previous episodes, like when we were talking about like episode 1, 2, 3, and 4,
Yeah.
and we were all wrong but all right at the same time. So
yeah,
like
exactly.
a few things we said here and there, when you put them all together, like that's literally what ends up happening. But no, I'm not gonna go with the narrative that she's gonna be a villain, because I mean, you could argue she's a villain when she was introduced into the MCU, even though I didn't think
Yeah,
she was a villain.
exactly.
She was just, she's lost so much.
Mhm.
She's a kid at the end of the day. This is how she's acting in retaliation. And then she had Captain America to guide her. If it wasn't for Cap, if it wasn't for the other Avengers, if it wasn't for Hawkeye saying, "Hey, you take that step out. You're an Avenger." Who knows what else she'd be doing right now? You know.
Right.
Now she's lost all that. She's lost all that guidance. So I think she just needs maybe Doctor Strange in this case to kind of take her back into that world of, okay, you know what? I care about others just as much as I care about
Right.
myself, instead of like just fuck it. I just want to be happy. I want to have my kids with a fucking computer.
These fake ass kids.
And like, well,
or
yeah,
real. I
yeah.
still don't understand.
I know that's
that
weird,
thing.
man. Crazy.
And it could be that. It
Uh,
honestly could end up going more the route that, like, Multiverse of Madness, like, Doctor Strange is more like a mentor figure to her and, like, is
Right.
pulling her through, like, because
Yeah.
regardless of what's going on, the one thing we do know is this is the MCU, like, opening the fucking floodgates to the multiverse.
I mean,
right?
dude.
Like, with all the rumors we already know about Spider-Man 3, the Doctor Strange movie literally being called Multiverse of Madness.
Mhm.
Like, we know that this shit's here now. So, like, regardless, like, that's the door that's open now. Like, that's the shit we're getting. And it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get so
Oh, no,
much
for
weirder
sure.
than this.
I mean, dude, I'm expecting at some point like a fucking Chris Evans Human Torch cameo. Honestly, with
Oh my
how crazy.
God.
I'm expecting it, dude. I'm just gonna say it. At some
That
point,
would
he's
be
gonna come in.
I don't even know
It'd be
what
so hype.
I feel like I couldn't take it seriously at that point.
Well, of course, yeah.
'Cause
yeah.
I did love him as Human Torch.
Dude,
It'd
he
be,
was, he was fucking hilarious.
that would be wild. But I wouldn't put
know.
it past them. Like, why not?
Yeah,
You
dude,
know?
it's
If
MCU,
you-
man.
If he
I
really
also
was
wanna say-
in contract talks or whatever to come back as Cap or something, they'd be like, you know what, just throw in the fucking Human Torch suit.
Well, it's like people thought it was for Cap, but it really was for Human Torch. That
Really?
whole time.
that
Dude, imagine,
that
dude.
might be what would make people mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it also just would make. I mean, it just would make no sense because Chris Evans was so like,
Total-
like how
Scrawny.
could he come back not
He's
as
so-
Cap?
Yeah.
Like how?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Total 180 here, but were you guys laughing when it might have been about halfway through the episode, and I think it cut from the more like TV stuff back to the like real time stuff when Officer Wu's just like walking with, and he's holding all the coffee, and he's just like marching in. I don't know why that just cracked me up. Like,
Did it
him just-
remind you of the Ben Affleck shit?
I think maybe
Oh
that's
my
why it made me
goodness.
laugh, because he's just walking with such purpose, holding like 6 coffees, and he's just the happiest person on planet Earth. And
I
he's just, like,
love
trying
him.
to get in there.
I
love him.
He's great.
Freaking
love him so
so he's on Fresh Off the Boat. That's like where I first
Yeah.
saw him, and he's great in that show. And so I loved him in Ant-Man too. But I'm so glad like Monica Rambeau, him and Darcy, like their little team they have. I
Yeah.
like actually really like it. I'm like really enjoying it.
Like, dude, they could have their own fucking show.
It's
And
crazy
I
like
don't
how
watch
the MCU is
or
so good at
podcast.
like at pairing people together like that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like
I
they
agree.
by no means are like the focus of this show, but they, like y'all are saying, like they could have their own fucking show. They could they could spin off like fucking podcast. I don't know, but like
Dude,
their
they had a
chemistry,
fucking podcast,
it's
I'm
great,
telling
and
you.
it's like every little part of this is still so much fun to watch, even when you're not seeing like the main like action
Oh,
that's
yeah.
going on. You know what I mean?
And I can't even with Monica being in this and it being Sword and stuff. Like I would not be surprised at all if somehow Captain Marvel gets thrown into this last second. Like she just like appears at the end or something. I don't know.
Well, you can
But-
already tell that there's like, I want to say
Some sort of-
animosity there,
Yeah.
but like you know, she
Yeah.
doesn't want to talk about Captain. She's like, we're not
Yeah.
focused on her. And then too, I was reading another comic thing is that she at some point in the comics kind of gets Captain Marvel's powers or like the same type of powers. And so
I
that
figured,
whole
yeah,
that
I
whole like
figured.
when they're taking like blood samples and it's coming back inconclusive and stuff, like a lot of people online fan theories is more like okay, this might be the seeds of that, even if it's way off. This is, you know, planting
Yeah.
out there that she could have, you know, superpowers too.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that because yeah, I mean she got her body thrown through
Right. That
like
would
how
explain
many brick houses.
Yeah.
how
Like,
she survived that.
I don't understand how she would survive that.
Which I
know
think-
they
Right.
kind of like push that aside and say like, oh, she like protected me, but it's
Yeah.
like, how can she like protect your entire
Right.
body going through walls of brick? I
We don't
don't
buy
understand
it.
that. But at the same time, I mean, like, look at how much Wanda's doing. Like, it's insane, like, how much power. Like, they're even saying, like, we didn't even know she was this powerful. Like,
Yeah,
she
I mean,
has
holy
never
shit,
shown
dude.
us.
That's
Like,
fucking insane.
her kids even, her kids are creeping me out, kind of, to be honest, because they're saying stuff to her as if, like,
Well, they know,
I know
right?
they're
So
saying it's her actual children, but it's like, how are they her actual children? I don't get that.
So
it's
Vision. Well, yeah, you
no,
want to
you
explain this
well.
one?
I mean, I have no answers here other than just suspecting that, like, so she's pulling in so many things that aren't real and like changing them, right? But I think that unless they said something differently, like, isn't this just like a product of the like weirdness that's going on? Like, so they are her kids because they kind of like created them here, but like they're clearly not like functioning like normal kids, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But yeah,
I don't
because
know.
they, like, look at each other and then they just grow 5 years.
Can you
And
imagine?
you're just like, what the hell? I like it, though. I think it's weird, though. But the second they said, oh, bring the dog back to life, Mom. You definitely can, like, bring things to life. And then Agnes looks at her. She's like, you can do that?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That was creepy too.
can she do, like, can she really just bring things back to life, too, now? Like,
I
I'm
mean, she
just
brought
shocked
Vision
by...
back
And
to
that's the
life.
thing,
so.
But
yeah.
he's not, like, a person. So that's why I'm wondering... It's just one of those things where I'm wondering if they're gonna show that
There's no
she
way
just
Paul
is,
Bettany's
like,
a
all
person.
powerful.
Fuck
Paul
that man.
Bettany himself is not human, so
Jesus. Dude, yeah, I did laugh in the introduction when they were showing them as babies growing up and they fucking show Vision,
wait,
dude.
I wanted to
That
say
made
oh
me
my
laugh.
god.
when he's wearing
That was
like,
the
the
goofiest
suit or
thing,
whatever,
man.
and when he was a
Yeah,
baby,
yeah.
so funny.
The intros for these every episode they do is so good.
Oh,
I know, dude, I love it.
oh, I was curious because they had one commercial in this episode, right?
Yeah,
Was
the
it for- was it
spill
called
one. It was
Lagos
like
or something?
It was Lago or
Apparently
Lagos.
that's either the town or the name of the building that Wanda blew up in Civil War.
It was a town. It was a
wow.
town.
The town, yeah,
yeah,
the town.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense because
Remember
they
when
show
Cap tells
it.
her or something like we're going to Lagos? Yeah.
Well, they literally show that
I do
in this
remember that.
episode.
Yeah.
Like the guy shows it to like
Yeah.
prove to everyone that she's like a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
it's a Sokovia
And I'm like,
Accord.
you know what? You're a terrorist, Tyler or whatever his name is.
Yeah, fuck you, Tyler.
Is that his
What's
name?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is. Director
Is it?
Tyler Hayward.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, yeah, I'm just using the
We also have
director
a
here.
friend Tyler, so we're not saying fuck you, Tyler. but, like,
Honestly,
fuck you.
fuck Tyler.
Fuck you
dude.
too, Tyler.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of like, let's ignore the multiverse. Like, let's ignore the
How?
MCU, the movies. No,
I'm kidding.
just
I'm
just
kidding.
just for a second. Where do we see like with the way the show's going, right? Because
Mhm.
I think at this point we're kind of starting to, like form some theories. Where
Yeah.
where do we see this show ending?
I see it ending the same way Matt said. Like I see it ending bad. Like it's
Okay.
not leaving on a positive note. I don't think that I don't necessarily think that means like Wanda is evil at the time or like doing evil things.
Just no
I
She's
think
just
resolution.
at a low
Wanda's-
point.
I almost think like it's gonna be like Wanda's being framed,
Okay.
and Doctor Strange has to like come in and help somehow. That's
Okay.
kind of where I'm going right now. That could clearly change in the next few episodes, but right
Okay.
now that's where I am mentally with it.
How about you, Matthew Austin?
Thank you, Omar Zaki. No, I'm similarly. I think that it's not gonna have this part is not gonna resolve almost anything. Like I think it's gonna wrap up a lot of like the plot points, I guess, in the show. But I think like long term, like this is just opening the door to something probably bad. And so like I'm more along the lines of thinking that Wanda is like she's gonna be going into whatever happens next as more of like the antagonist side, right? Like not saying she's
Okay.
evil or anything,
Okay.
but like, and I do think somebody is helping, like, kind of drive her,
Right.
like, she's got all this like bent up like frustration and like loss and stuff that she's experienced, and I think somebody's picking on
Right.
that and orchestrating stuff. But
Sure.
I think that she's gonna have like there are gonna be people going up against her after this to hopefully try to save her. But I think it's just setting up so much. And what better way, like, what do you follow Thanos with? Like, what on earth could you follow Thanos with? Like, think about it. How can anything feel like there's any stakes? And I
That's
think
why I'm so interested to see.
that's why,
who it's
and
gonna be.
again, I don't know this what they're doing. I'm not saying it's gonna suck if they don't, but I just think it's almost brilliant to take like a character that like you wouldn't even really call her beloved at this point, right? Like she was like people like her a lot, but she hasn't had like her like
Yeah, of
really
course,
shining
right.
moment yet in the MCU. And I think to take a character like her, and now we're getting all the backstory to it, and if they do try to flip her to be at least bad for a little bit, I think that would be genius. So that's kind of what
I
I'm hoping
Would be
agree.
happen,
cool.
but I don't
I
know.
agree.
I don't know.
Super
I
cool.
just think there's so much more in the MCU, especially with these characters they're bringing. So let me tell you first what I think like this show's gonna end or how it's gonna end. I think she's gonna keep going. Like more people are gonna show up, just like Quicksilver, whatever. She's gonna get so fucking lost in her world, and honestly, not even be able to tell what's real and what's not at that point. To where Doctor Strange is gonna kind of have to come in and like grab her hand and guide her and let her know, like, hey, like, look, this is how you navigate this bullshit, right? Because she's gonna just like start fucking. I mean, dude, she's at a very like this might be her lowest point, right? This
Mhm.
is even lower
Oh,
than when
yeah.
we first see her in the MCU, where it's just her and her brother against the world.
I mean, she's
She's
sleeping with a
lost the fucking
corpse.
world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there. Trust me, I don't recommend it. Okay, it's horrible. So I think that's where the show's gonna end. In terms of just like everything before, the movie Doctor Strange and just everything else in the MCU. In terms of the MCU, look, man, if they're bringing the Fantastic Four, if they're doing the X-Men and stuff, we still have Doctor Doom. We still have Galactic. We have a lot
There's
of
so
villains, man.
many.
We've got like really good villains.
You're right, and-
Well, we have just so many people in general left in them. Like, this is just such a small amount of what we're about to see with all these shows.
Right, right. And honestly, we could have something, sure, like what you're saying, to where like Wanda is the antagonist, but not versus our MCU, like not versus Doctor Strange or any of the Avengers. I think they maybe could even go a step further to where it's like the X-Men are coming for her ass and like Doctor Strange has to protect her. No, I mean, I think that'd be interesting.
No,
I
I
think
mean,
that'd
it'd
be a
be
cool
cool.
way to introduce like the X-Men, you know?
I think all of y'all's theories, I think all of our theories put together make a kick-ass comic, and maybe they should
Yeah,
just
like,
take a
let's
page out
fucking
of our
write one.
book, and they'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna give y'all a call up, and I'm gonna let y'all finish the show, and then it ends with Benedict Cumberbatch being her child.
They're like, do we have
I-
to use this part?
I know, I don't. I mean, I was so hyped up until you got to the end, and I'm like, nah. But
Oh my God.
no,
But
man. I mean, I
agree.
definitely agree, and I definitely look. I want them to take that route. I want them to take the route where Wanda is the antagonist, not a villain, but
cool.
an antagonist. Yeah, because like, dude, it's like you said, after Thanos,
It'd be a
What-
good
what more of a
transition, right?
threat?
Because like
Right.
you guys just said, like there is like Galactus and Doctor Doom. Like there's all those like villains that are gonna be just as iconic and can be just as crazy as Thanos if they
Right.
do a good job with them. But yeah, like how do we get to them? I feel like this would be
exactly.
a cool way
It would
to
have
do
to. It would have to like hype up to that point. It's not just
Oh,
like
yeah.
okay, like in 2 movies, here's Doctor Doom kicking ass, go save the world. No, I mean, I agree with that for sure. Yeah.
I
so,
do too.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, so I feel like if we keep on this road, we will talk about this for 3 hours.
Oh,
So
for sure.
for the people's sake, I think we should just wrap it up here with our last predictions of what this crazy ass show is gonna end like.
I know we talk about it
Because I
every
really just
time,
have no clue.
but how many episodes are in the
9.
show? 9. Okay.
So we got 4 more.
So we have 4
That's
more.
quick math for you peeps. I passed math in high school.
She's on it.
Yeah.
Um,
4.
Yeah, sweet. So we got
Omar
4
got
more
there.
coming for you guys. He did. We're proud of him. But yeah, so I feel like I'm so hopeful to see how this is gonna end, and I love Monica Rambeau. I hope she's in a lot more. I think the actress that plays her is fantastic, and
She is.
I feel like Wanda and her have good chemistry, even though like she kind of hates her right now. I just feel like everyone in this show so far has had great chemistry, and I love it, except for that Tyler Hayward guy. Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
you
nobody
know?
likes you.
Out of this fucking verse. I love this show, man. It makes me like genuinely happy. Just like this is like MCU,
It
like straight up the
does.
MCU,
Just
and it's
on
like
TV,
it's
and it-
good. It's not just like okay, here's something to keep us like happy until like the next minute. No, like this is good, man. It's really
I'm not
fucking
trying to
good.
open up a whole new discussion or anything, but just to Omar's point earlier that like this episode finally felt like the MCU. It's like it's crazy because everything so far, like since it's been filmed in like TV type stuff, like it felt good, but like to now see like last week and then this week showing like when it's outside of that, it still feels like it fits in and it doesn't feel like this like
It's the MCU,
bite-sized
baby.
thing. Like it just feels like we're getting more MCU just in a different way, and
You gotta
I'm
love
all
it.
for it. I'm
Here
all
for it.
Here
Yep.
for it. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Just as a reminder, we do all our newly released shows every Friday, starting with WandaVision right now, but we got more coming for you after this little shindig. So that'll be every Friday evening when our little Matthew puts it on for you.
Right
and then
after
you can
this,
always
baby, I'm
Find
just-
us Again,
And
on
put to work.
Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and on Twitter and Instagram. Again, press for Twitter, press play again for Insta. And yeah, that kind of just wraps it all up for you, you know? Make sure to comment on this if you have any like feelings about this or you think we're completely wrong. We're fine with hearing that. But also you might be completely wrong. And then yeah, just like us and subscribe to us
Just
because
love us,
we
man.
we really like y'all and we will subscribe to you. Your life, you know.
Yeah, if you start a
Um,
podcast, we'll do it. We'll come subscribe to you.
Oh, and coming up, we got Tuesday. We're gonna be doing the little things finally. So come listen to that discussion because it's gonna be a doozy. And then Thursday, we have a little special treat for you guys. We are gonna be discussing the newly released "Promising Young Women" because I already watched it and I'm making them to watch it because it's phenomenal. So
I have two quick questions.
yeah.
Where can we find the little things, and where can we find?
The women.
Little Things is
Promising?
on HBO
Yeah.
Max. Promising
Okay.
Young Woman, I will say you have to rent it, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to skip ahead and cheat. I'm going to tell you it's worth it. So rent it. But yeah, Little Things you can find on HBO Max. So if you want
Sweet.
to. But yeah, so that's it for us guys. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been insane. This is
Yeah.
best day of my life.
Best day.
Damn, dude. I love that.
All right.
All right,
Peace,
guys.
guys.
Later.